Welcome to the fun and mentals of real estate. I'm your host, Angela Dillmon, here at Keller Realty, Chesterfield in St. Louis, Missouri. And this is my co-host.
I'm Glen Calvin here at Gill Mortgage in Chesterfield, Missouri as well.
All right, so we are here to help you build wealth, live your dream lifestyle, and leave legacies that matter. And today,
Let's talk about the lifestyle part.
we're talking about dream lifestyle. Okay, so what do you think? Question of the day.
What is the question of the day?
Question of the day is this saying true for you? If it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah, I think maybe with little things, but it seems like with the bigger things, it takes effort. It takes work. It takes planning. And we know that change is always going to be difficult.
All right. So have you ever thought about change? Like, hey, I would really like to move and maybe not have all this grass to cut or do these stairs or whatever. Or man, this place is too small, I need a bigger one. And you thought about it and maybe even looked around, and then you sort of hit a wall with it and you're just like, well, whatever.
My mom is the perfect example. She was in this beautiful house in between two small towns. My dad had helped build it in 1971. She was there for 40 years.
House.
And she decided it was time to go. She was sick of the maintenance. It was just her. But it was a place where we all got together. We had our picnics. And
they had a pool,
a tennis court.
Yeah,
it was nice. It was a great place to grow up. But she was able to get out of that house into a villa, a spacious villa. It wasn't tiny, and she just loves it. She doesn't have the stress of that maintenance. Mm-hmm. She has neighbors. She can travel. It was a lot of stress getting her from point A to point B, but well worth it.
Well worth it. So I was thinking the other day, Glenn. So I know that moving is like one of the top 5 stressors. So sometimes people just are like, whatever, if it's meant to be, right? But I was thinking, it's kind of like planning a wedding.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so my cousin Michelle, her daughter just got married, and I just watched her go through this whole wedding process. So I was thinking, there's a
ups, there's downs.
Oh my gosh, ups and downs, right? So there's
yeah.
lots of decisions to make.
Where you're going to have it.
Right? You got to find the venue. That's always like a hunt.
Yes.
Right? And then there's all these financial decisions to make. Sometimes everything doesn't go just the way you planned it.
It never does.
All right. Yeah. And so then you're like, and then there's the emotional up and down, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, man, this is a lot like buying someone else. It's like planning a wedding. But you never say when you're planning a wedding, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Never.
Do you?
No.
Have you ever seen anybody do that? Yeah, whatever. No one ever does that. So they look forward to the wedding ceremony, to the beautiful, beautiful day. And it was.
It was.
Her daughter's wedding was beautiful. It was a gorgeous day. Everybody was happy.
It's a big party.
Oh my gosh. Everything went off without a hitch. I mean.
And the other thing we talk about is, tell me something in your life that's really worthwhile and meaningful to you that came super easy, that just fell into place.
Oh, I don't think I can tell you that.
It's not much, things that we value take effort. And it's the same thing with buying this house. So now we're in the lifestyle, and we spend a lot of time with the first-time home buyer, but now let's look maybe at that person that they're moving. They're moving up because their family's growing, they want more amenities, or their family's shrinking, and it's too much for them, and they're moving down.
Don't like the stairs, don't like the yard, all the things.
Want to travel just like mom.
Right. Want to lighten the load, think you got too much stuff, and let me tell you, it can feel overwhelming.
And the other thing is, and I know my mom too, you're going to get advice from everybody.
Oh.
Your sisters, your neighbors, your cousins, your minister, the people you go to church with. You're going to get advice from everybody.
Right.
Who don't have any experience other than their only little tiny experience.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So I did know a gal one time. By the time I got over to her house, she had been divorced for some years, really couldn't afford the house. Her mom was helping her with the payment. By the time I got there, the deck was non-usable, door closed, locked, 2 burners on the stove worked, the carpet was torn to pieces, and I'm really not sure if my husband would let the favored Wally dog.
Your dog even live there.
I mean, it was bad. It was really, the condition she was living in, really quite deplorable, because she couldn't push through the hard part to get to the wedding ceremony. Right?
Yeah.
The fun part is the ceremony, the joy, the band, the food, right? Yeah. And seeing everybody celebrating with you and all the pictures and all the fun stuff. that there is to do at a wedding, and she couldn't push through because she couldn't see it. So what we're here to do to talk to you today is about external forces, right? So when the interest rates are 3%, what happens, Glen?
Everybody wanted to buy. Yeah, it was crazy.
Everybody wants to move because like, oh my gosh. So the market makes them move, right? They feel like there's opportunity. But when the market or the world doesn't make you move, are you going to let it stop you? I mean, is it time for you to make the change, but you're like, oh, it's so hard, I don't know. Gee, if it's meant to be, it'll be. I don't want you to throw up your hands when it's time for you to live your dream lifestyle.
Right, and I think the key is to sit down with a professional. And it's okay to get advice from your friends. I'm sure my aunts and my mom's friends only wanted the best for her, but they didn't have the experience that you had. And in that situation, you were able to step in and give her concrete advice, give her a plan, and boy, it just worked so much.
She is so happy. She's smiling ear to ear. She got through to the wedding ceremony.
Yes.
No doubt about it. So let's just talk about some of those dream lifestyles. So if you were to move anywhere, I know you have a farm, you're living your dream lifestyle.
Yes.
Is there another dream lifestyle you would have later in life?
You know, probably something smaller, something that didn't require the maintenance, that I could travel a little bit. But I'm a little bit different in that I'm happy to be carried out of my house in a pine box.
Oh yeah, so some people are like that, right? So we are too. We love the place that we live, but our dream lifestyle was to get the condo at the lake and the boat, and so we did. But it took work, it took planning, it took figuring out values. It took a lot of decisions had to be made to get there.
And there were ups and downs in that too.
And there are ups and downs in that too. Sometimes you thought you're going to get it, sometimes you're not. So what's your dream lifestyle, right? Is it the condo? Is it the carefree lifestyle? Is it the big 2-story, 4-bedroom, 2-story? So what is your dream lifestyle, and how can we help you get there, whether the externals in the world are going to take you there or not?
And I think the first temptation is, and maybe it is rightfully so, but you're going to sit in front of your computer, you're going to pop open whatever the services are, and you're going to click around and start looking at houses. Which maybe that isn't a bad start, but it certainly requires a second step.
Yeah, and so you do want to have vision for where you want to go. So I had a young single mom, and her son was about ready to enter high school. She was renting an apartment. And she called me and said, hey, I want to buy. We talked about it. We got her qualified with you. And it kind of got hard because she's like, if I can't find what I want in the spot where my son can take the bus to school and be in the certain school district, I'll have to drive him. And I'm like, okay. And so she kind of hit a wall. And she said to me, well, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And I said to her, I'm like, I totally understand. And moving is work. So this is what I had her do. So think about doing this. I had her make a list of pros and cons. Now, you're like, well, the pro of staying. No, it really wasn't the pro of staying. It was the pro of moving, and then the cons. And then the cons were really what happens if I do stay? Is there any good thing about staying? And when she made her list of, in her budget, if she could find something in her budget, would she be happier moving or would she be happier staying? Once she made the list, she was like, I need to move.
Yeah, we used to call that the old Ben Franklin. I don't know why. I guess Ben Franklin used to do that, but
yeah. And so she was like, the window was leaking. The landlord wasn't fixing this, wasn't fixing that. And so she was like, I'm really tired of the cold air coming in. I'm tired of the water. He won't do anything. And I'm like, do you want to keep living like this? So that's what I'm going to ask you guys. Do you want to keep living like you're living? Or is there a better lifestyle out there for you? Whether it's here in St. Louis or another state, we can hook you up anywhere. And we got this really cool tool called a HomeBot. And once you get on it, you can do a private search on it anywhere in the country you want to do it.
Yeah.
And no one bugs you. Like, no one tries to sell you anything.
Right, it's private.
No one calls you about it. It's like a private search, so it's a great tool. If you want that, you can go on our website and sign up for it. But when she did that pro and con list, the pro of moving, not the cons of moving, the pros of moving, and was there anything beneficial to staying? And she was like, yeah, no, there really isn't.
Getting advice from a professional, somebody outside of your sphere, somebody that experienced and knows it is going to be the key. All right, what about next week?
Well, next week we are going to dig into condos because that is sometimes a really big lifestyle change, is to downsize into something carefree. And when we say condo, it means a ton of different things.
Right.
You think it means one thing, it doesn't. There are so many different models out there in the condo market, and we want to clarify that. And so give us a call if you're thinking about moving. We'll show you the ways, the financial ways to move. So a lot of downsizers I talk to don't think it's financially, well, how am I going to do this? The market's selling so fast. Am I going to be homeless? Yeah, talk to Glen. He's got like tons of ways for you to be able to either buy first or you sell first, and we get time. Like, we have all kinds of strategies to help you logistically, financially make the move. But let's just dig into what are the different kinds of lifestyles out there and what you should be looking for.
Perfect.
So that's what we'll talk about next week. So thanks for joining us here at The Fundamentals, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.